Hello and welcome to my vlog. Tonight we're going to talk about how the spirit world concerns itself with small details, everyday little minutiae, which you would believe is completely unimportant, but they realize how inconsequential details that may seem to be to us are actually possible important events that build upon itself to something else. Let's talk about this further. Before I discovered the doctrine of Spiritism, I believed in God, but I thought of God and Jesus as remote entities, peering down at us on a periodic basis to check in on our paltry progress. I considered the situation of the human race to be similar to those first prison colonists sent to Australia, abandoned on a beach with a few guards, and told to fend for themselves as best as they could. Nothing could be further from the truth. We are watched, tracked, measured, analyzed, led, and herded into situations in which we thought were our decisions. The frequency in which our normal daily life is manipulated by the spirit world is much greater than one would suppose. No detail is too small to lay unnoticed. The depth of the spirit realm's intrusion into our life is revealed in the book Life Beyond the Veil in the Lowlands of Heaven section. It was a communication to the Reverend G. Val Owen from Astral in the spirit world that explains the care in which our lives are directed. The machinations undertaken when the Reverend G. Val Owen began to build his church begins innocently enough with a question from Astral. On top of your church tower there is a weather vane in the form of a rooster. You will call to mind that you yourself decided the form that this should take. Is that not so? I had entirely forgotten it until you called it to mind. You are quite correct, however. The architect asked me about it, and I hesitated between a fish and a rooster, and eventually decided on the latter. I am wondering, however, whatever you have to say of it. Astral is reminding Val Owen of a decision that he automatically assumed he made. In fact, he believed he deliberated between putting a rooster or a fish as the weather vane on top of his church. Now he learns what really occurred. No doubt, you see, these things are trifles to you, but there are a few things which are trifles to us. Now, the fact that the likeness of a rooster stands above your tower is the direct consequence of certain activities which took place in your mind 5 years ago. That is a case of creation. Many would smile at this, but we do not mind that, for we too are able to smile, and some of our smiles would perplex you, I assure you. The meaning you had in your mind when your apparently not very important decision was made was that all might be reminded that St. Peter denied his Lord. I suppose you meant it as a caution against a repetition of such offense today, but you did not realize that that apparently trivial decision was registered here and dealt with quite seriously. There are few things which are trifles to us. Reflect on these words. What we consider to be inconsequential decisions in our lives may, in fact, be vital. They may be the fulcrum upon which our life turns. When it is said the butterfly flaps their wings, from there a hurricane is born, it is meant that through seemingly trivial events, large alterations in our lives may occur. When a child is told that God watches over you, little does the parents or the child realizes the true extent of the words. Not only are our actions, but our thoughts, our innermost desires, are an open book to the spirits that guide us. Our life, and by extension everyone's life around us, are on tracks. While we have free will to respond to the events and scenery on both sides of the tracks, we are monitored to make sure we don't derail. That we keep moving forward, because only by traveling ahead can we experience the life courses that have been assigned to us. Astral explains that not only is Val Owen directed in certain actions, but a wider net is cast. I must tell you that the building of a new church is an event which is the cause of much activity here. There are officers to be appointed to attend the services and guard the building, and a whole host of ministering spirits to be allotted to the different departments of duty in connection with the new place of worship. Your clairvoyant friends have seen some of these already, but only a very few comparatively. Every detail is considered, not only in respect of the character of the minister and congregation and choir and so on, and the best among us, that is, the most suitable, chosen to help you according to the traits we observe. Not only these things, but the structure and all structural details are considered minutely, especially where symbolism enters in, for that has an importance not realized among you as it is with us. So it came about. The weather vane was also considered, and I have chosen that because of its seemingly triviality, in order to show you that nothing is missed. The last words of the paragraph stand out. Nothing is missed. All minutiae painstakingly reviewed, re-reviewed, and passed on to higher-ups for modification and approval. Spirits who have attained a celestial level are part of the immense army that serves to regulate and direct all life on earth. They ascend to heaven because of their attributes, their capacity for love, and their selflessness. Hence, the battalions which surround us are an army driven by love, motivated by their desire to supply the lessons we all so sorely need. Spirits not only direct, but they add to our lives. Astral tells Reverend G. Val Owen how the bell for the church was paid for. It was decided that, as the rooster had been chosen in preference to other symbols, we would answer that choice according to our custom, by giving to the church some appropriate offering in response, and that offering was the church bell for which a choir boy collected the money. You had no bell when first your church was consecrated. The bird stood aloft, but could not utter his warning as his original had done to St. Peter. And so we gave him voice, and your bell today gives tongue, as it did tonight at evening song. Actions and events, great and small, are planned and directed by the spirit world. Individually and collectively, we are being pushed to become better spirits. The history of the world is like an upward spiral, where conditions motivate us, either through times of prosperity or cataclysms brought to mold our character, all designed to elicit particular responses to promote our advancement. If you are interested more in how the spirit world guides us, please read my book, How We Are Guided by Spirits, Book 3 of Spiritism. Book 3 illustrates the ground game of the spirit world via the messages of multiple spirits to the Reverend G. Val Owen. We are presented examples of how the spirit realm above us peers down upon their unruly students. The process of tracking and modifying behavior on an individual and a collective basis is revealed. Even the broader direction of human society in the future is posted for all to see. God bless.